The Twitchiest community has earned themselves a $1,000 bonus giveaway by reaching all of our goals with Guardian Tales. So go ahead and check out the description down below to go get your entries. The more ways you enter, the better your chances to win the $1,000, and keep your eyes out for opportunities in the future to earn more cash giveaways for the Twitchiest community. Hello everybody and welcome to your Achilles solo lane guide. So you might be thinking, oh, Incon, are we restarting over the guide series again? The answer to that is no. No, we are not. So why are we doing Achilles? We didn't actually start Season 8's guides on the first god because of some weird overlap with the previous season. The first god that we actually did was Camazot. Which means we have to go all the way up until Cabrakan, and then we will have done a Season 8 God Guide for everybody because of just kind of that weird little overlap. So we're going to go through the first 20 or so gods in the alphabet, and then we will be done with our God Guide series for Season 8, and we will move on to our ranked A through Z series for the second half of the Season 8. So on Achilles solo, we're going to be starting off with our 1 to help us clear this blue buff, and grabbing that tier 2 Fighter's Mask. Fighter's Mask gives you so much damage in the laning phase and really allows Achilles to go for some big bullying. So we can just dash right in on somebody, and you can already see all of this damage that we are going to be able to get out with that early Fighter's Mask, which is why we like it so much on Achilles, because it really lets us go crazy aggressive here at the start, even into a god as good as Kukulane. Although we will not be keeping our build quite this aggressive, we will be transitioning, of course, into a much tankier build. But that extra power at the start of the game, woo-wee, boy golly, does Achilles love it. So at level 2, we grabbed our 3. You can use this ability twice in a row, but only if you hit a god with it. So if you dash and you hit a just the minions, then you're not going to be able to use it again. But if you dash and hit a god plus the minions, or just a god by themselves, then you can do a second little dash. This makes it actually your most efficient lane clear, which is why we are going to be maxing it out first. If you were doing something like a jungle Achilles, you would actually max out your 1 first, because this is going to be way better jungle clear. But because we're in lane and we can fairly reliably be using this ability twice, it is going to make it the better lane clearing and poking ability as well. At level 4, we are going to grab our 2. A lot of people get confused about Achilles 2, so we're just going to kind of read over it because there is a lot of text on it. It's basically going to give you a buff, and that buff is going to make you stronger for the next 6 seconds. The next 6 seconds, you will be able to heal off of your ability, only up to 2 abilities at the start, but then eventually 4. And it's also going to give you physical power in protections as well, and it's going to give you some CCR. So standardly, you're going to pop this ability first before you use everything else when you're going in for your fights, when you're going in for your poke, because it's going to make all of your other abilities do more damage, provide you with some stain, and really make Achilles hard to box. Very hard to beat Achilles in that 1v1 once he gets going. I dash in, I go for it. Really smart, actually. Jump right there from Kukulane, so you can see I did not actually hit him with my 3, which means that I did not get the second proc. Now I'm gonna try to do a little cheesy dash on him, just like he did a little cheesy dash on me right there, and avoid some of his damage as well. And now we got our ultimate. On Achilles, we are not gonna rank up our ultimate more than 1 point. This is gonna be the last ability that we actually rank up on Achilles, and that is because we are going to be using this as a execute, and so the baseline damage of the ability is simply not relevant for us. much like Ao Quang, you are going to wait and level up that ultimate to max actually last.
Give me a bad job. I can take it.
Because you're only trying to really use it for the Achilles. So I'm gonna go ahead and back up. I'm gonna miss a wave here, but that's gonna be okay. Been staying a little bit long, so the jungler's rotating over. I'm pretty low. They could actually full dive me out of that tower. We're gonna be grabbing ourselves those reinforced greaves because you know we are so stat efficient for the price right now. Once those boots are gone, you're gonna be moving yourself directly into some sort of protection item that's going to help you out the most. So this game, I am against a Cucullin and a Wheelix that is double physicals. So in a situation like this, I might start going right into something like a mystical mail, so I get the physical defenses, so I still get some damage. Something like a void shield. In general, you're going to find that your builds aren't going to change a ton. With the upcoming removal of boots, it's just that you kind of shift a lot of your items down one slot and simply get them earlier. So this game, I'm going to be going myself into a mystical mail. So instead of, you know, getting the boots first and then mystical, I would obviously just go in and grab the mystical. For the official level order then, on Achilles, it is going to be 3. And then you do actually have an option here after you max out the 3. I prefer 3, 1, 2, 4. But there is a decent argument to be made for 3, 2, 1, 4, which is just basically increasing that buff. So that you get even more value out of your 3. I personally find that the little bit of extra damage from the 1 is actually more helpful. That was a really well-timed jump right there. Right now we're in a mini game of me using my dash and holding the jump and holding the damage until he jumps and him trying to hold it until I use mine. It's a fun little Smite mini game right now. Now he's got to be careful because he is really close to execution range. He is in it, but he's also regenning, so he's gonna get himself right back out of it right there. Maybe if I was super crazy confident that he was gonna go into threshold, I could have gone for it, but he was right at the tip of threshold and kind of coming in and out of it, so that would have been a pretty risky play. My Kepri's all the way over here, but so is the Emoja and everybody else. I'm just gonna go ahead and sit back and try to get myself this blue buff before I go ahead and get rotated on. But just to clarify, for me, the level order is going to be max out your 3, then your 1, then the 2, then the 4. So 3, 1, 2, 4. Although I do think 3, 2, 1, 4 is also a viable strategy.
Never mind the analysis. We'll make it work.
So Achilles, what type of god is he? Well, he's gonna be a front-lining warrior.
Your right tower is under attack.
That also provides quite a bit of damage and pressure, mostly through his ultimate, which allows him to execute, and that execute does reset, much like a Scylla ulti if you get the kill with it. So you can go on a massive killing spree.
Be careful, left.
In the laning phase, you're actually one of the better 1v1ers. So you've got that going for you. It's really that double poke on the 3 that really gives you that pressure. So what you're just going to be keeping your eyes out with just for the major solo laners. Cucullin obviously has so much lane pressure. King Arthur obviously has so much lane pressure. So those kind of gods are just inherently difficult for everybody in the solo lane. The only thing specifically for you that you need to be a little bit careful for is cripples. Your 3 is a very small dash, which means that a cripple will stop you from being able to using it. So somebody like an RDO can actually provide a lot of pressure on you. If you are in a situation where you are against somebody that is going to be able to constantly stop you from using your 3, aka somebody with cripples, then you can go ahead and level the 1 first. That way you still have some lane clear. And it's not entirely interrupted. So don't be afraid to mix up that level order if you find yourself in that particular predicament. I was gonna try to rotate over to mid right there. Looked like a little fight was breaking out, but they actually killed the Awilix so fast that my rotation wouldn't have ended up mattering. So I came right back over to the lane.
Give me your best shot.
I'm coming for you, laddie.
Gotta go pick up my blue buff here, but Cucullin's gonna try to keep me over here, so I can't pick up that blue. That's fine. Hit the wave, make sure I get credit, and then I'm just gonna walk over and grab it. For Achilles, our main goal in this game is going to be to dive at their back line.
You know what?
So this particular match is looking like there's going to be a Chiron and a Yanis that are kind of our primary targets that we are going to be focusing.
Enemies incoming!
One thing I am going to have to be careful about this game
Enemy has been
is we've got Yamoja. Yamoja is going to provide healing. That healing, of course, can take people out of the threshold. So much like if you were doing an Ao Kuang or a Thanatos and you're trying to execute people, you need them to be in that HP threshold. So if they've got a bunch of HP 5 because of a Stone of Gaia, if they've got a bunch of healing because of a Yamoja or a Life Steal, you have to be very careful on the ultimate. Otherwise, they can end up healing right out of your range, and then you just dash in kind of like a moron. Also got to be a little bit careful with Chiron, because if Chiron is in his ultimate, he can't be executed as well. So he can also kind of use that for the res factor, right? When he's about to die, I go for the execute. He can still get all 3 of those shots off. It won't necessarily count as a kill. I don't get my reset, all that kind of stuff.
If they don't know, I know. I know I'll stay on top.
So we basically got our mystical male finish at this point. I'm not gonna have great secure on my own blue. 1 HP. Unfortunately, it's gonna give him that blue. So now I'm gonna have to actually be quite careful. He's got about a full 2 level lead on us just from the fact that he's a Cucullin and he gets to bully us in the laning phase. And him getting that blue is unfortunately not going to help out our situation in the slightest. So just a bit unlucky right there. So now we're just gonna have to chillax. Probably not gonna be able to get involved in this particular game for a long time. That lane pressure is so important, and that losing of the blue buff right there is gonna hurt us quite a bit. So we're gonna focus as much as we can simply on farming and getting as much XP as we can, because we are not gonna be able to beat the Cucullin in a 1v1. We're not gonna be able to out-rotate him. It's not gonna be safe enough to go for proxy farm or anything like that. So we're really gonna be waiting for the ultra late stages of the game and just kind of hoping that our team can make it that far. Now the good news is that they do have triple physical, double magical, so we can afford to go another physical defense item. So I'm gonna grab myself a Void Shield. The Void Shield will help me out a little bit over in the laning phase, and then eventually we are gonna need to get some magical defense online. And I also might need to get some anti-healing for my team, so I'll keep a lookout on our builds. Good chance I end up having to actually go Pestilence this game in order to help out with some of that sustain that they have.
Gank right lane!
I can take it.
Now he's gonna go for my blue buff yet again. I gotta quickly get rid of this and head on over. Now they are rotating to this. I'm gonna throw down a ward just so we can get some vision onto the Cucullin. This time we are somehow once again gonna lose that dang buff with like 1 HP. Cucullin's about to transform, so I'm gonna try to stun him right when he comes out of it. He used his dash, which means I should be able to follow up and grab the ultimate. Now, you do not have to immediately use the ulti again if you don't want to. You can right click and then use it later. you've got about 10 seconds actually to go ahead and use that second ultimate on your Achilles.
Your right tower is under attack.
As far as Achilles'
Enemies in
passive
the left
goes,
jungle.
you can take off your shirt at the start of the game. If you're going to take your shirt off, most of the time it is going to be in the very early game on the Achilles, which is going to transfer your bonus stats. So right now you can see I have bonus hit points in protections. That is the stance you're going to want to use at the end of the game for sure. As you move into the mid-late game, those bonus protections are incredibly helpful, especially if you end up with any items like a gladiator shield or a Pridvin or something. This style of build just works really well with all those kind of like, I am
Enemies in the
tanky,
right
so I
jungle.
do damage items, especially because we're going to end up with a bluestone in the ultra late game, which is going to be
Enemies
providing
incoming
us with most of our damage. You can see we avoided the starter item in the early game because we went for that fighter's mask, but we are still going to be grabbing that bluestone because that ranked up bluestone is going to be where most of our ultra late game damage comes from, because the rest of the build is going to be very hybrid / tanky. Now we're going to pray to all of the blue buff gods that we actually get a blue buff, and we're just not going to be able to do it. It's just so unfortunate. I don't know how much HP this is living with, but this is going to be a bummer. Just gonna put it farther and farther behind over in the solo lane. It's so very close, and yet so very far from getting that blue buff time after time. The good news is we almost have enough cash monies to get ourselves a void shield. Now, I obviously can't compete with the Kukulkan right now on the rotations, so I'm going to stay over here in the solo lane, and I'm going to help out my team in the way that I can, which is by getting us a tower, which is going to give us a little bit of extra cash, and I might even be able to grab another wave, which is going to allow me to catch up even more with him. And if I can catch up eventually... Yamoja's going to stop my back over the wall. They actually might go for a full dive on this if they all start to rotate over. Yamoja's still gonna go for it. A Wheelix is over here. Luckily we can counter that blink with a blink of our own, so I need to back up, get my void shield. I'm gonna go ahead and grab myself against this team. It's looking like I can get away with a Sunder, and I'm also gonna get a couple of wards out near the fire giant, because once it's about 15 minutes or so, the fire giant is liable to be done. So I'm gonna get a sentry on that fire.
Ultimate is down.
Just a regular ward. Out by my own blue buff.
If they don't know, I know.
I might be able to catch up to this Wheelix. Unfortunately, not quite gonna get that little Scylla ulti right there, but that's all right. Gonna use the second dash of my 3. I've got the Sunder, so I'm gonna use that on Yamoja. Not quite gonna be able to land it. That's a slippery little Yamoja right there. A lot of movement speed buffs with a little threshold and with all the Yamoja 3s and stuff, but she is still gonna go down anyway. I just won't get the reset on my ultimate, but that's still gonna be a fairly okay fight for us. Lord willing and the creek don't rise. It also looks like I'm finally gonna get myself a blue buff, which is a very important part of being a solo laner. Not having a blue buff really puts you in a much more difficult spot than is probably necessary. So for my next item, I'm definitely gonna end up going a Pestilence. We are gonna need the anti-heal unless, well, actually no, my Khepri has gotten Contagion. We have a Brawler's Beat 6. I don't inherently need to double up on the anti-heal. So because my Khepri has gone out of his way to get that early game anti-heal, which is fantastic from him, it's actually gonna let me get into a little bit more CDR here by grabbing a little Genji's Guard. A couple other items that would also work here. You could go a Talisman of Energy. I think Talisman of Energy is honestly always a good item. That bonus movement speed that it gives out for your team is just an incredible buff. But in this particular match, I'm going to go the Genjis because this is going to give me a little bit more CDR online. I'm not going to have a ton of CDR really in this build at this point. So that extra 3 seconds that I get when I get hit by a magical ability is going to help bring down my combat dodge a ton. And bringing down that combat dodge is basically going to be like 4 little mini dashes, which can help out a ton. Especially as we are now officially into the team fight stage of the game. So I'm going to start clearing these waves as fast as I can and then rotating myself over towards the team. Speaking of rotating over towards the team, looks like they had the same idea. So I need to start dashing myself out of this one a little bit. Wheeler's going to take a ton of damage, but just not quite enough damage for me to get the kill right there. Guess it's time to throw down that little sentry ward while I'm trying to run away right here. Pop my 2 again, turn around, use it for a little bit of sustain. And a good Capriole should be able to get me out of here. That was Janus ult, Cullen transforms, all sorts of things. I need to back up really quickly so I can run back towards my team. I'm gonna grab another sentry ward so I can have another counter ward on my way back. And I need to get right back over towards this fight.
Retreat! Ultimate is down.
So for my standard combo here on Achilles, I'm going to be popping my 2 before the fight. Wherever I'm about to go in, I want to make sure that 2 is active. And then I'm typically going to be starting off right with that stun if I'm allowed to. If I'm not in the range, I'm going to be able to use my my dash just to bring me in range. And then I go for, of course, all of my abilities. Now, once again, we got to be a little bit careful right here because they are on their way back in. Chiron looked like he was about at half HP. He is, so I'm actually going to blink towards him. Couple dashes. I'm going to go for the ultimate here for the movement just to get a little bit closer because I think I can finish him. Oh my goodness, it is all 5. I guess I'm not going to finish him because they've got all 5 people right there. It looks like the Scylla's going to be able to finish him, but holy bajolies. It is a group up o'clock. Apparently, that's a really good Scylla ult. That was almost a really good Scylla ult. But this is going to actually end up being a pretty little decent team fight for us. So right there, I knew I wasn't going to be in range of the ultimate. He was obviously very far away. But we had blinked towards the Chiron, and we knew that his dash was down. So the thought process was, oh, we're going to use it to get right next to him, and then we're going to be able to finish him off. But as mentioned earlier, they do have a Woojer. And while the Woojer ulti in this case wasn't problematic for us in terms of bringing somebody outside of the threshold range, she was problematic in general Woojer fashion for just healing him up outside of the kill range for us, which was kind of a bummer. So I do have to keep that in mind moving forward. For this last slot, that is going to be filled up with that bluestone pendant. Of course, we're going to be using that for that damage. And then typically, we're going to be selling that fighter's mask in the ultra late game. So this is not something that we usually rank up on Achilles. It's not something that we standardly are going to actually turn into that ranked as mask. Then we're going to be finishing up and grabbing ourselves a CAD shield. I love CAD shield on Achilles. 1, generically, the stats on CAD shield are just good. It's a good item. But 2, because you've got the sustain built in the kit from your 2, it's really going to increase that, and it's going to be very nice. Not to mention all the other healing from your team. Also, if you have gone something like a Stone of Gaia, which would also be a pretty decent item this game because of their knockups, it would also, you know, be increasing the sustain from that. All sorts of good stuff. So I'm going to use my Sunder right now onto that Cullen. He's going to actually be forced to use his beats. I'm going to get hit by a Janus because of course I am. And now I need to be a lot more careful because I am getting absolutely slapped around. See if I can't get myself back in onto this Awelix. She will go down. I got to be careful for this Janus coming in to finish me off. I'm going to use my ultimate for the CC immunity just to get through that Woojer 3 so they can't finish me off. And I should be able to get back into this fight and help out my team. Got the 2 pop. I'm going to use the 3 to get a little bit closer. Might as well at this point. I can at least use it for the sustain.
Thanks.
And use some of those Cupid hearts to go ahead and heal on up. Another thing you can pop the 2 for on Achilles is just popping it for extra tower damage. So if you look at 55 damage, but now I pop my 2 and be hitting it for 61 damage because it goes ahead and gives you that extra percent power. Actually, didn't even watch out a little bit here for another Scylla 3, but you can use it just for some extra tower damage as well. Go over here, try to tank the Pyromancer for my team so we can run back extra quickly. Because it is now really Fire Giant o'clock. I can also back up, finish that Genji's Guard, which is going to help to have a little bit of CDR in this build. I'm going to call for be careful because I am also 100% backing up. Grab that Genji's Guard, make sure I get that Sunder ranked up. I'm going to grab that Bluestone because it's just about time to get that level 20 and rank up that Bluestone and do our Brooch for the big damage. Remember that you want to upgrade Sunder as soon as possible. I didn't really have an opportunity to upgrade it this game that early because, just to be honest, I was kind of behind in the early game. The Kakulin out-pressured me. I lost like 3 blue buffs in a row. At one point, I was like 2 levels down, so I just didn't have the extra cash on hand in order to rank up the Sunder as early as I would like to. But as a general rule, when you're acquiring Sunder, you mostly want to be acquiring upgraded Sunder because it is so much better than the regular Sunder. And also a reminder, Sunder is getting kind of changed, but also kind of buffed, moving into the mid-season patch where you can actually fire it twice. On every back, of course,
Enemies incoming!
making sure to buy our Sentry Wards. That doesn't matter what god you are, what role you are. Once it's past the like 6-minute marker in the game, you should basically be buying a Sentry on every back. Now, Yamoto's kind of over here by herself, but I don't know if we're even going to be able to chase him down because he is a Yamoto. Yeah, he's just going to use his 3s and get himself right on out of there, and he did counter my Fire Giant ward, but luckily our Scylla has a ward of her own. But now I need to stick around and help him out, make sure that Kakulin can't go for him for free. Good fight from our team over in left, so what we should actually probably do here and right is just be careful. I'm just basically on peel duty right now. I'm on Operation Keep Scylla Alive, whatever that takes. I'm watching Scylla on the mini-map kind of while I'm going in on this. Doing damage right now is tertiary for me. My main job is just to keep our Scylla alive because our Scylla is doing a ton of damage and will also be the one responsible for our Fire Giant secure. I'm going to call for the attack Fire Giant. I'm mostly just trying to zone right now.
Attack Fire Giant.
So our Cabri can go tank it for the team, and I can just kind of stand here, zone them out. We got 2 people dead. The Kakulin is backing. I saw that the Chiron was over in the mid lane. So I'm going to stop them from getting in to this Fire Giant, so we don't even have to worry about the secure. Generally, as the warrior, you will be in charge of zoning. You're either going to be on zoning duty for the objectives or tanking duty, and that will largely depend on the exact god that you are and your support, as well as how much HP you guys have if one of you is dead, etc. In general, this game, a Capri should pretty much always be the one tanking the objective, and then Achilles should pretty much always be the one zoning. A lot easier for me to get away as an Achilles than it is for him as a Capri. Plus, I've got better zoning abilities as well, and if something crazy were to happen and somebody were to get past me, the Capri has the ability to keep our squishies alive a lot better than I do. Now, we have not backed yet, so I'm going to call for attack left lane. This is a part of the game where it's a little bit tricky. It looks like we have this massive lead, but we haven't actually backed to spend the gold. So if everybody is like me right now and actually has 2k gold in hand, then we're even. And this is something that is really lost upon people, I think, most of the time. People just look at the gold and they think to themselves, I have a massive gold lead. But that gold lead only means anything if you've actually gone back to spend the gold. And because we've just been going from objective to objective to objective, we haven't actually backed up to spend our cash yet, which means all of our lead is basically in our pocket. So the only actual lead that we really have right now is the Fire Giant itself. So we need to back up, spend that gold, and then we can go in and actually assault with our lead. I'm going to get rid, of course, of this Rangda's mask and start working my way into that CAD shield. Have to actually spend your cash for it to be a lead. Now we want to
Attack left lane.
go attack left lane, because that's the farthest lane away from the fire giant, but I actually need to quickly go over and grab this blue buff, get the enhanced blue. That'll bring me up to 30% CDR. Combined with my new and improved blue stone will actually let me do a lot of damage in this last potentially team fight. So I run over, I grab that. Now it's time to head back over towards my squad. In these Phoenix fights, I'm going to be in charge of tanking the actual Phoenix. Capri should mostly be on peel duty, meaning he's mostly making sure that our squishies in the back are staying alive, and I'm mostly on initiation duty, making sure that the Janus and the Chiron, whoever I can, is zoned out. Also making sure right now that we are getting 2 waves pushed up. You always want 2 waves pushed up, so that way you have the opportunity to both grab another Phoenix / also split push. So when we get this next wave to come up, I'm going to be blinking in on the back line, trying to get off as much damage I can, but more importantly, just trying to stay alive. So creeps are about to come in. I need to make sure I'm not in range of the mystical mail on the minions. Now I'm going to go in on the Chiron. Going to throw him a little sunder. He's actually going to be taking a ton of damage from this. Going to go for the ultimate, which he is going to Aegis, but now he has to dash away. He is totally out of that fight. I'm going to run back at Janus because he is still one of my main priorities. Pop my 2 again. And I'm getting a little bit of that cooldown from the Genjis. Now I'm just trying to zone him in the back without dying. Now I need to start being a little bit more careful. Start coming back to my team. Hopefully they have been zoned out enough for my team to grab that kill. I hear a Janus kind of portaling behind me, so I need to be a little bit careful about that one. I'm going to roll myself away from the Chiron back into the Janus. Unfortunately, we did lose our Hunter, and we did not grab the Phoenix. Maybe I can finish off this Cucullin, force him back into us utilizing that blue stone. I will attack the Phoenix myself. We actually get the Janus right there, which is fantastic. I know that Chiron is going to be able to get back to the fountain right there, but there's not a ton else that we can do. So I'm just going to call for the retreat, and we can get ready to go attack the fire giant.
A little security.
CAD shield online. Let's rank up that blink, get a little bit tankier, grab ourselves another sentry ward, head ourselves right on out back to that blue buff. Now that we got the CAD shield, just that much more annoying to kill. Gonna have that enhanced healing of 20%, which reminder is not just me, that's also the team as well. So something like a Cupid Heart, something like a Fenrir Seething Howl, all those also going to be increased. Soul Gem procs, all that good stuff. It's all healing. It's all getting increased. Generically, just a very strong item, but particularly good on Achilles because it factors really well with that too. You get the heal from this, you get 4 times the heal, and then you get the bonus on the heal, and all sorts of good stuff. Now I'm going to start this up. You can actually do quite a bit of damage to the fire giant, even as a warrior. As long as we have that blue stone, because that blue stone does 7.5% of current health. And yes, that procs on things like the Titan, on things like the fire giant. So this is the enhanced fire. We have lost our Capri, which means that in this situation where you get a disconnect, but you have the lead, you should be going for these fights right away. So I'm going to blink in towards this kind of Cucullin and Yamoja, see if I can't reach them. You want to force it as fast as you can and try to utilize the lead that you have built up in order to put that game away. Always assume that the person that has disconnected is not coming back. Whether their computer died, their internet died, their client died, they can't get back in, whatever, doesn't matter. Always just assume that they're not coming back and try to play the game in that regard. So I'm going to be moving forward. I'm going to be responsible kind of for peeling and initiating now. I'm going to try to put a little bit of focus here onto the actual Phoenix itself. So I'm going to peel for the backline, going back and sundering on that Cucullin, which is going to get a lot of damage on him. I am still taking that Phoenix, so we need to kind of reset back and try to help out in the backline. We're going to be able to finish off that Yanis right there, but they're going to be coming right back in toward us. So I'm going to go for an ultimate onto the Cucullin. I am going to be able to hit that. We still got 3 of us alive. We still have the enhanced fire giant. I can use my ultimate again if I need to, but it doesn't look like there's going to be a good use for it. I'm going to wait for the Chiron to dash and try to get into range of my stun. I'm not going to be able to do that, but maybe everybody else will be able to get in range, and we might just be able to put this one away. I'm going to call for the attack Titan. We've got some fire creeps in the room, so I'm going to mostly be kiting around right now. Just trying not to get hit by too many abilities. Try to peel a little bit for my Cupid right here. I got to get out of that Titan room and reset it. And it looks like we are going to be able to do a little back step around the Titan, around that pillar, and get that last little damage on it. So you can see we fell behind early game. That can happen. Achilles is really good in those 1v1 fights, but somebody like a Cucullin, like a King Arthur, are just generically better. So they're going to be able to outclear you. And if you get unlucky with not getting some of your blue buffs, you can fall behind, you know, a couple of levels in the early game. That can happen, but in general, Achilles is a very strong solo laner right now, particularly if you're not against like the cream of the crop, so to speak, in the solo lane. And with that fighter's mask, you are very liable to get that early first blood, guys, especially if you take your shirt off, so you have a little bit of extra power and movement speed in the early game. And that is our Achilles. Thank you for supporting the Twitchiest community. If you'd like to see more videos, make sure you subscribe to the channel and always hit that bell for notifications so you don't miss any of the upcoming videos. Thank you for all your support and have a Twitchin' day, y'all.